Wait, what is that? Oh my gosh, can you hear that? Can you hear that? Can you hear that? It's Halloween week, people. Hi guys, I'm FPL Nymfria and welcome back to the home of FPL videos. It's Halloween week, and for some FPL managers, Game Week 9 was very frightening indeed, but for others, it was spookily spectacular. Let's take a look at how I got on in my impromptu, last-minute, scary Game Week 9 wildcard before looking ahead to my bat shizzle selection for Game Week 10. Sanchez made way for Raya on my wildcard. I was looking ahead to the easier run of fixtures here. That was a frightening 2-point loss for me this week, as Sanchez got 2 bonus points for 4 points, whereas Raya just managed the 2 points. Neither with a clean sheet, but I'd have been better off keeping Sanchez. My defence got a little shake-up, but Cancelo stayed after last game week's great performance. Unfortunately, he didn't live up to last week's hype, conceding and getting a yellow card for 1 point. Chile was my new addition and was my planned addition regardless of the wildcard this game week. I really enjoyed feeling a little Chile with him indeed. He had 2 shots and 1 fabulous shot on target for another goal. That's 3 goals in 3 games for him. Bring on the 12 points. Much appreciated, Chilwell. Rude Boy stayed and played, and thank goodness he did. He was determined for a goal, 5 shot, 3 in the box, 1 on target. Alas, it wasn't to be, and I had to settle for an assist and a clean sheet for 9 points. As settling goes, it's not half bad, is it really? I'd settle for that any day. Terrifyingly, Trent was back and back to his best. Looked much more like himself this week. Frightening, that is, especially if you don't own him. He didn't want to be outdone by Rude Boy this week and got himself an assist too, but nabbing a bonus point for 10 points towards my team total. In midfield is where you'll see the biggest changes to my team. Son and Havertz were the big new additions. If anyone follows my videos, they'll know from last season my Super Son situation. I love the guy. I'm so happy to have him back in my team. The idea with Sonny is his good fixtures from Game Week 12 onwards. He's the second highest scoring midfielder this season, only behind Salah. He has had 10 shots, 12 in the box, 16 attempted assists, accumulating in 4 goals and 1 assist so far this season. Hopefully, against easier opposition that is just around the corner, these chances will be taken by him. However, it just wasn't to be this week. Raf, oh Raf, I was hoping for some superhuman Ninja Turtles with Rafinha this week. Instead, I got Raffle. Injured. I wonder if he makes it into my Game Week 10 team. Stay tuned on that one. And yes, do not adjust your sets. That is the spectacular Salah doing spookily good things. 3 goals and 1 assist against Man United. Who could have called that? Who could have called that? I mean, I didn't. I thought he'd get a little something, but nowhere near as much as that. If Lukaku would not have got injured, I would have definitely captained him, against Norwich, the worst team in the league at the moment. I just would have placed my captaincy there. So I'm feeling like the spirits were with me this game week and not just the Bacardi kind, as that injury made me swing back towards captaining Salah instead. Look, that's a massive swing. And if you were on the wrong end of that call, I'm feeling hard for you, I gotta admit. We've all been there and it isn't fun. Big, big hugs to you guys. And if you were, please be kind to those that weren't, because someday it could be you. Hey, banter is all good, but meanness, there's never a place for that. And yes, I fell into the Havertz trap. I thought with Lukaku out that I needed some Chelsea attack cover. So I got Havertz. And well, I'm still looking for it, haha. In all seriousness, the luck of missing out on a return in a 7-0 game is just my kind of luck. I did look at Hudson-Odoi, but never really thought about it seriously, because I never settled on the fact that it might be too much rotation with him. And Havertz, supposedly playing as striker, made me feel like he would definitely get these next 3 games, and I never really considered Mount. You know what? I went for it. It was never a long-term plan on my wildcard. It hasn't worked out so far, but let's hope he repays me as my punt in the next couple of game weeks. Up top, the injured Lukaku made way for Tony, meaning I have a pair of Tonys up top. So unlucky not to have a return from Tony from this game week. He had 3 shots, 2 on target, 2 in the box and 3 attempted assists. If he can pull that out against Leicester, I'm hoping he can add some finishing in his amazing fixtures to come for me. And lastly, there was a glitch in the matrix as Antonio was back to his scoring ways, grabbing a ghoulish goal against the seething Spurs. Nice 7 points from him and hopefully gets him spurred up for more. So with all of that, I got 97 points, just shy of the 100 club, but I could not be happier. It's not often that I have a wildcard that does really well like this. With things still as squidgy as they are at the moment with the overall ranking, I rose just over 100k to 163,418. And before moving on, just to recap, my players that left my team on my wildcard were Sanchez, Semedo, Jota, Benrahma, Lukaku, Steele, and the very cheap Richardson. And the players that came into my team were Raya, Chilwell, Son, Havertz, Tony, Foster, and Davis. If I hadn't have wildcarded, I would have benched Lukaku and got Chilwell and played Livramento. Pretty sure I'd have left Jota on the bench in fear of rotation rather than that fixture, because I obviously would have thought he could have scored against Man United, but yeah, I would have been a little nervous that Klopp would be rotating him and Firmino again. So that would have hurt a little more because all of those points on the bench would have been weirdly harder to stomach, I think, than actually selling him like I did this week, because at least I know he's not sat there tormenting me on my bench. If I'd stuck with my original team, it would have got me 105 points. I would have been in the 100 club. But to be honest, if I had played Livramento this week instead of Cancelo or Rafinha, I'd have had exactly the same amount of points. So just gotta hope in the freshen up that I've made some better long-term choices with scope to the good coming fixtures ahead. But for me this week, my 3 top scorers were the spectacular Salah with 48 points as my captain. He saved my game week, there's no getting around it. The chilly Chilwell with 12 points and the terrifying Trent with 10 points. Okay, so moving on to the horrifying Halloween weekend that is Game Week 10, and this is how I'm currently lining up. This was what using the wildcard was all about, trying to shift my team around for some of these really nice fixtures, despite my benching headache and a plan to keep 1.5 million in the bank in order to turn Antonio into Kane for Game Week 12 with absolutely no news on how bad Rafinha's injury is. I've gone full on bat shizzle, people. I've just done it. It was bound to happen at some point. You know where I'm like. Seems fitting that it's fallen on Halloween week, that's for sure. And I have done Rafinha to Foden already. This could be a Jota situation all over again, especially as Rafinha has Norwich and we know what they're like in defence, so this is risky. Basically, I had the exact cash and Foden was rising Saturday night, so I took the punt for it for a few reasons. Foden looked so good last week, like ridiculously good, and City's fixtures to Game Week 20 are looking very, very nice indeed. With Antonio looking good and Kane, not so much. I don't feel so much in a hurry for the Spurs double up as I already have Son for those nice fixtures. But I do have a loose plan if it feels like I absolutely can't do without Kane in Game Week 12. And the way to get to him for me at the moment would be selling Havertz off for Emile Smith-Rowe or somebody around that price point, selling one of my premium defenders for Manquillo, and then I'd be able to move Antonio to Kane for a -4. So it can still be done without really ripping up my team. The other reasons were I have Havertz, so didn't really want to double up in Chelsea attack, especially as Mount and Foden have similar stats. With both having 3 goals, Mount wins out on shots with 16 to 13, but Foden wins out on shots on target 9 to 8 and on shots in the box with 19 to 13. So it's close, and arguably City have the better long-term fixtures. My last reason for doing this was, believe it or not, because of the benching headache. Having Livramento and Mbeumo, who, if he's back from injury, on the bench to come in for Foden, if rotated, feels a lot nicer than nailing Raphinha in my team and hoping he does something. He's been a little hit or miss the last few weeks, so it feels like fate to maybe give Foden a try, see how he does. If he gets rotated for whatever reason, I mean, it is pep roulette, it's very likely it can happen, then hopefully my bench is strong enough to cover it. I mean, as it is, I'm not exactly happy about benching Mbeumo and Livramento this game week, especially Livramento, as this guy just keeps going nuts on my bench. So basically, having either of those guys there to come in if Foden doesn't play just feels like a right time to risk it. If we get on him and he doesn't do well at his price, it's easy to move him on, maybe even move back to Raphinha if I want to in future weeks. However, it just feels like if he's about to pop off, getting in early on him could just be the right move to do. I mean, he's absolutely played his way into this City team and hopefully will be pretty undroppable in terms of form. It'll just be a case of whether Pep wants to keep him fresh for other competitions. So it's risky, I realise, having both Havertz and Foden in my team when they're both punts. However, Havertz won't be staying much past game week 11, I wouldn't have thought. So I look to hopefully get somebody a little more nailed there. And with Foden, it's a little bit of, let's take a little bit of a spectacular punt and see what happens. Captaincy is on Salah, let's be honest. He's going to be perma-captain for some weeks now. There's no point beating around the bush. However, just putting this out there, he may well get a rest at some point. I mean, none of us could have seen Mane getting benched against Man United. So, you know what? It could be coming for Salah, especially if it doesn't happen during one of the midweek matches. Do feel like Salah is somewhat unbenchable at the moment. But just to be sure, if you're going to captain Salah, perma-captain, from here on out for the foreseeable, then make sure that those vice-captains are set. And I've got mine on Sonny at the moment, just based on that United defence. And lastly, moving on to the trending transfers this week using Fantasy Football Fix data, I'll delve into the trending transfers ahead of the next game week so you can see who's likely to rise and drop in price, as well as gauging the bandwagons at the time of recording this. So let's take a look at the players in and out ahead of ghoulish game week 10. Of the goalkeepers, Mendy is still the trendiest goalkeeper in ahead of game week 10 with 60,000+ purchases. Martinez is the next trendiest with 26,000+ buys after his penalty save. Schmeichel is the most transferred out goalkeeper with over 22,000 sales due to his current form. The next highest out and challenging Schmeichel for the top spot this week is still Lloris, with 22,000+ managers selling on the Spurs man. Of the defenders, Alonso is still leading the way for sales out this week due to Chilwell's return, with over 262,000 managers jumping off of the Chelsea man. Shaw is the second most transferred out because of form, with 75,000+ sales. Chilwell is the trendiest defender in ahead of game week 10 after another cracking goal, making it 3 in 3 for him with 274,000+ purchases. Rudiger is the second highest defender in with over 113,000 purchases. In midfield, Mount is the trendiest midfielder in with over 308,000+ purchases after his hat-trick. Foden is the next trendiest in this game week with around 242,000 buys with his brace and an assist on the weekend. Pogba is still the trendiest midfielder out with 186,000+ FPL managers moving on the United midfielder after his red card. Bruno, at the time of recording this, is the second most switched out midfielder this week with over 114,000+ sales. Up front, the injured Lukaku is the trendiest forward out so far this week, with 301,000+ managers moving on the Chelsea forward. Ronaldo is the second most transferred out forward owing to his recent form, with over 166,000 sales. Vardy is the trendiest forward in this week despite picking up an injury last game week, with over 159,000 buys already. And Hwang of Wolves is also the second trendiest forward bought ahead of game week 10 with over 128,000 purchases. And that's it, you guys. I'm ready for a little bit of bat that chisel. Thanks for watching. I hope Game Week 10 is more of a treat for you rather than a trick. And I'm hoping it won't be Nightmare on Nim Street. See what I did there? Just a reminder to get out and about and have some fun outside of FPL this weekend and look after your mental health. Before you go, please check out the sponsors of this video, fantasyfootballfix.com, and yet again, if you'd like to help me reach 7k, then please do like, share and subscribe and do all those fabulous things. Until next time, Nymfria out.